Welcome to the Pharmacy Frontiers podcast, a podcast dedicated to the profession of pharmacy. Today, we're excited to turn over the podcast to the students from St. Louis College of Pharmacy at the University of Health Sciences and Pharmacy in St. Louis. We give credit to Professors Stephanie Lucas and Taylor Wahalik for mentoring these students for their leadership podcasts. Let me remind everyone that the Pharmacy Frontiers podcast is available for streaming on your favorite podcast streaming app, whether it be Apple, Podbean, Spotify, or YouTube. The comments and opinions as shared today are those of the hosts and our guests, are not official statements of the Missouri Pharmacy Association, Mitchell Pharmacy, Mercy, nor the University of Health Sciences and Pharmacy in St. Louis. Today we welcome five students from the Pharmacy School with a podcast entitled Dose of Knowledge, Pharmacist Shortage, Concerns, and Opportunities.
What's up, y'all? We are Pillow Talk. I'm Will Irby.
I'm Ruth Samuel. I'm Jamie Kreitz.
I'm Vanessa Luan.
And I'm Patrick Bronca.
And we are all current students at St. Louis College of Pharmacy. Today in our episode, we're going to be going over and discussing the context of the looming pharmacist shortage, some of the concerns and issues that come with it, and some of the opportunities that have become open to current or future student pharmacists.
So I'm Vanessa, and I'm going to talk about why there is a pharmacy shortage. To provide the highest quality care for patients, it's very important to bring awareness to the actual root cause of the pharmacist shortage. Because every profession has difficulties, and pharmacy is no exception. Not only do we need to advocate for our patients, but we also need to advocate for ourselves. By shedding light on the problems in the pharmacy field that have led to the shortage, we can then begin to promote change in the workplace to basically provide a better environment for both the pharmacists and the patients to thrive. So, one significant contributing factor to the shortage is the decline in graduating pharmacists. Applications to pharmacy school have fallen to a shocking 64% from 2012 to 2022. In 2022, there were only 13,000 graduates from the four-year pharmacy program, a drop from the 14,000 the previous year, according to AACP. It is the largest graduation drop since 1983. Pharmacy applications have dropped from nearly 100,000 to merely 36,000. Even I have personally seen a significant dip in students looking at my own pharmacy school class comparing to other classes in the past. However, the pharmacy field has done a lot of reforming to the application process to make it easier for people and address tuition concerns that may come with being in graduate school. There is a multitude of programs that offer scholarships to facilitate success with students pursuing higher education. University of Missouri Kansas City, UMKC, one of the two schools in Missouri that offer a pharmacy program, has a Boys and Girls Club that grants $1,000 to students who graduate from their club program. This scholarship is renewable for up to 5 years as long as the student can maintain a 2.5 GPA and take 24 credit hours per year their freshman year. And that's only one example, because this scholarship can be combined with other scholarships that students can pursue, and it can significantly decrease cost concerns. As well, many schools have removed the PCAT requirement for pharmacy school applications. The PCAT, which is also known as the Pharmacy College Admissions Test, is a standardized test that evaluates reading comprehension and writing, as well as topics like chemistry, biology, math, logic, and reasoning. Removing it has also decreased the required fees to apply to pharmacy school. The biggest concern with the pharmacy field, however, is burnout. Because of short-staffed pharmacies, the pressure that is put onto current pharmacists has increased, and this causes major stress in pharmacies, especially during health crises such as swine flu and, obviously, COVID. Pharmacists have often seen over 200 vaccine appointments, in addition to the workload of filling hundreds of scripts and servicing counter and drive-through customers. A lot of the times, all of these responsibilities are given to the one pharmacist and the two technicians that are working that day. Naturally, this would stress a lot of people out. However, this further highlights the importance of pharmacists and technicians in the world of healthcare, and also this issue is solvable. Studies show that promoting a close relationship between pharmacy work staff can greatly decrease work stress by having a good work support system. So this can be done by expressing gratitude to your coworkers. A simple expression of positivity can greatly increase technician retention rate and decrease the stress that comes with being understaffed. And by increasing tech retention rates, it can solve the issue of being understaffed. As well, having regular staff meetings to address concerns can go a long way by giving every person the space to confide and can help solve many work issues before these issues build up and become unmanageable. Most importantly, pharmacists are vital, but they are also human. We have a life outside of our jobs, and it is important to remember that. In non-emergent cases, make sure to not feel pressure to check work-related messages and emails. Make sure that your life outside of work is not consumed by your work life. Having this balance will make the stress that comes with an important frontline healthcare job a lot easier to manage. Being a pharmacist can be difficult, but it is so rewarding, and having good self-care and support systems can greatly reduce these difficulties. And now I'm passing it on to Patrick.
Hello, everyone. It's Patrick again. So now I'm going to kind of talk about why a pharmacist shortage is a problem. And that basically boils down to it's going to lead to poor patient care. And this is something really important because as healthcare workers, it's a pharmacist's responsibility to ensure good health outcomes for patients. And if pharmacists are not present to help deliver good health outcomes, patients aren't going to receive the proper treatment that they deserve. So what does poor patient care look like in terms of a pharmacy shortage? Well, one of the most important duties pharmacists have is counseling patients on the medications they will be taking. Counseling informs patients on how and when to properly take their medications they're prescribed. Some of these counseling criteria are like when to take the medication and whether to take the medication in the morning, the afternoon, or in the evening, whether to take it with or without food. Should you separate taking your medications? So should you take one an hour before you take the other, or should you wait a few hours to take one after taking another? And then pharmacists also counsel on what types of adverse effects patients might encounter while taking a medication and how to properly deal with those side effects. So if there are no pharmacists, they can't convey this information to the patient. And this will lead to patients taking medications either the wrong way or sometimes not even taking the medication at all. Which if they take the medication wrongly, it can lead to the medication not having the intended effect. And sometimes it can even bring harm to the patient. If a patient does not know how to handle side effects of a medication they might experience, the patient most times will just stop taking the medication to avoid those side effects. All of these things lead to patients' conditions or diseases not being properly managed, which leads to further complications down the line, and sometimes it can even cause death, depending on how serious the condition or disease is. So some of the areas we're seeing a pharmacy shortage in already are rural areas. And this is because some rural areas might only have one pharmacy for the entire town. And if there's no pharmacist in that town, the pharmacy can't stay open, so the pharmacy just closes its doors. And then obviously all of the people there would have no way to get their medication, so they would just go untreated. So there was a study published by USPharmacist.com that described the impact of these pharmacy deserts. So a pharmacy desert is described as an area that has no access to a pharmacy near them. The study found that the lack of pharmacy access worsened health outcomes and increased healthcare disparities. So what that basically means is that the patients weren't being properly cared for, so their health conditions worsened versus other places where there were still pharmacies. And then this study will be linked in our show notes at the end, so if there's anyone interested in reading it, it will be there. So I think what I just spoke about seems very negative, but I think this topic sheds a light on just how important pharmacists are in the healthcare field and how much care they provide to patients. And I think it's also extremely important to bring awareness to the problems that a pharmacy shortage would cause, despite it being negative in nature. Pharmacists are called medication experts for a reason. If pharmacists were to just disappear, it would spell disaster for patients and everyone else who works in the healthcare industry. Pharmacists are trained to be highly knowledgeable about different disease states of the body and how to properly manage these disease states with both drug and non-drug therapy, making them a great resource for any questions patients have about their conditions. Pharmacists are also on the front lines of patient care. From my experience working in a pharmacy, I have been told countless times by patients how easy it is to get a hold of us and how kind we are to them, and then how we can easily answer any questions they have about their medications or their overall health conditions. Overall, pharmacists play such a crucial role of keeping patients happy and healthy through medication counseling and adherence so patients' health conditions are properly managed.
Alrighty, thank you, Patrick. So my name is Ruth, and I'll be talking about the work environment within the pharmacy shortage. So in addition to poor patient care, like Patrick mentioned, the working environment also plays a major role in contributing to the pharmacist shortage. I think when people typically think of a pharmacy environment, it's not the most positive experience, especially when discussing retail pharmacy. Some of the main issues for patients are the long wait times for receiving a prescription, or they may be waiting for a vaccination, or they may have insurance issues, or some other issue that they may have. However, what is often overlooked is that there are not enough pharmacists and techs to meet all the pharmacy demands in a timely manner. Therefore, it leads to the pharmacists and techs being overworked on a constant basis and not creating a positive work environment for them as well. One significant example that has happened was the CVS Pharmacy Kansas City walkout in 2023. What happened was that pharmacists had become so fed up with the lack of staffing that they resorted to walkouts and strikes to protest their concerns. In Kansas City, Missouri, pharmacists in at least a dozen CVS pharmacies did not show up to work for multiple days, claiming that they would not return to work until the company promised their chief pharmacist to increase staffing and fill open positions. This event has significantly changed the perspective of the pharmacy work environments and has allowed companies and organizations to take action and make pharmacies a better place to work and enjoy. Even though this all seems very negative, there are solutions that have been developed to improve work experiences within the pharmacy. Personally, I have worked in retail for about 2 years, and the progress in improving the work environment over the time has been tremendous. For example, one solution to help with the overload of prescriptions in the pharmacy is the process of virtual verification. This recent development has helped pharmacists spend more time counseling the patient by decreasing their workload and instead of manually verifying every single prescription. Another solution is that phone calls go straight to voicemail so that pharmacists and techs do not have to be overwhelmed with picking up calls so often, and that they can focus on getting their tasks done in a timely manner. Also, the pharmacist can log on virtually and verify prescriptions if needed to reduce the workload for those who are currently on call within the pharmacy. Additionally, in the past, there weren't any lunch breaks within retail pharmacy, but in the past few years, a 30-minute lunch break was implemented to give the pharmacy team a break within the chaos. Some pharmacies have also reduced their hours in order to promote a work-life balance among the pharmacy team members. There are certain organizations that I came across, such as American Pharmacists Association, and they also have made efforts to address the pharmacy burnout. One solution that they have made is the pharmacy workplace and well-being reporting. So this allows pharmacists to voice their concerns about how the work environment can be better without fear of backlash from their employers. Another solution is that they have the well-being index for pharmacy personnel. This is a survey developed by the Mayo Clinic to help pharmacy personnel identify common factors that cause burnout or distress within the workplace and what they can do to improve workplace conditions.
The links to these surveys will be in the show notes if you're interested. Therefore, it is evident that the pharmacists and techs' voices are heard, and these organizations will continue to prioritize both the pharmacist and the patient well-being in the years to come. I also must add that many of the issues involve retail pharmacy, but there are so much other branches to consider, such as hospital, ambulatory, industry, etc. I cannot say that the other specialty areas do not have their issues as well. They also have very similar issues like retail pharmacy, but it is something to keep in mind when trying to choose a future career. Whether you choose retail or another specialty area, pharmacy is a very fulfilling career that will always strive to improve, and it will be reflected through your patient interactions and your healthcare professional interactions. So now I'll be passing this on to Jamie. Thank you so much, Ruth. My name's Jamie, and I'll be talking about the opportunities from the shortage. So we know that every shortage brings opportunities, and the field of pharmacy is definitely no exception to that. According to the U.S. Bureau of Labor Statistics, an estimated of 14,200 pharmacist job openings are expected each year. This is great news for newly graduated pharmacists, as it increases their chances of securing a job soon after graduation. Filling these positions benefits not only the pharmacists entering the workforce, but also the patients they serve, ensuring better access to essential healthcare. In recent years, the demand for pharmacists has steadily risen, with job openings increasing as shortages continue to grow. According to the ACCP's Pharmacy Demand Report, there were 60,882 pharmacist job openings in the third quarter of 2023, marking a 17.9% increase compared to that of 2022. These opportunities are not limited to retail pharmacy. We are also seeing significant growth in clinical, hospital, informatics, and nuclear pharmacy positions, reflecting the expanding role of pharmacists across various healthcare settings. This means that newly graduated pharmacists have better opportunities to work within different pharmacy settings. According to PCOM, the ongoing pharmacy shortage has forced many pharmacies to reduce hours, worsen working conditions, and in some cases, permanently close. However, this challenge presents an opportunity for newly graduated pharmacists to explore entrepreneurship. With demand rising, new graduates are in unique positions to open new pharmacies across the United States, filling the gap and potentially thriving in underserved areas. This would positively impact the patient population, and it would allow pharmacists to give high-quality patient care. New entrepreneurial opportunities seem to have appeared concurrently with a trend of more PharmD students pursuing an MBA, possibly indicating that many students are recognizing and taking advantage of how a shortage in healthcare creates more opportunities for pharmacists to create their own pharmacies and healthcare services. Along with improved job prospects in the pharmacy market, there has also been a rise in salaries and bonuses. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, the median pharmacist salary in 2022 was around $132,750. PCOM reports that in some regions, sign-on bonuses can reach as high as $50,000 or more. With high demand for pharmacists across the country, many areas are offering competitive compensation, making it a lucrative time to enter the field. I will be now passing it on to Will.
Hey y'all, it's me again. So one of the things that seems to be on the rise due to pharmacy shortage that people should recognize as a big opportunity is mail order pharmacies. Part of the reason this is because there are not enough pharmacists in the field. Also, because of the pandemic, we've lost a lot of healthcare workers, and a lot of pharmacies have been making large financial losses caused by PBMs and other middlemen. So there's sort of been a migration and an upward trend of the usage of mail order pharmacies around the country. And one of the best examples of this is Mark Cuban's Cost Plus Drugs program, where he has been creating his own mail order pharmacy that has cut out the use of PBMs and all to give patients more fair prices that are more reflective of the manufacturing of the drugs. So to sort of summarize everything, brings back to our final point. Pharmacy shortage could spell disaster for patient care and for the profession of pharmacy as a whole. But it also opens the door to many opportunities for pharmacists, and it's important that we take this moment to understand how we arrived at this moment and to make changes necessary to prevent a crisis. By doing this, we will ensure that all our patients get the care they deserve. But at the end of the day, patient and patient care is the most important aspect of pharmacy and healthcare for general. For our schoolers, we want to be a bridge between healthcare and patients and be reliable and easily accessible healthcare professionals for the people in the community in order to make a change. We urge you to consider pharmacy as a future career option to make an impactful change in patient lives and end this pharmacist shortage.
For hosting the podcast. Thank you, listeners, for joining us. Please share this episode with your friends and on your social media outlets. And seek out the other Dose of Knowledge podcasts on the Pharmacy Frontiers podcast page that you can be found on your favorite podcasting channel.